Boom. All right, legends. Are you ready for the biggest protest in UK history? Let's get into it with my good friend Jonni. Jonni, how you doing, brother?
Good, how are you, Chris?
Utterly firing. Another day in paradise.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, I've been behaving myself lately. I've been focusing on my diet, laying off the, you know, the bad influences, doing me spiritual, listening to me John St. Julian, having me sauna, going for my run. That's all you need to do. And
That's it.
just remember that you're a holographic representation of God, and then you can't go far wrong. And keep pH neutral.
That's it, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. So I've been doing a bit of digging. Well, I mean, I've been doing a little bit of digging into this Prime Minister. I'm told he's called Keir Starmer. A very strange fucking name for a start, you know. What?
He's got a new name now, Chris.
Say again?
He's got a new name now.
Go on.
Two-tier, free gear, Kia.
Well, he's a Satanist, and let's just say it how it is. He's a bowl worshipper. He's I mean, people. I don't know how much people at home understand this. But here's his membership of the Trilateral Commission. This was set up by the Rockefellers for their New World Order. You don't get much more bowl than that. What else we got here? We got his World Economic Forum.
Yeah, he's on there.
You know, he's Klaus Schwab's boy. And if there's any doubt in anyone's mind that these guys, you know, who they worship, some people will get this. Sadly, so many won't. But bloody congratulations to you that do. Look at the last, it's 4 years now, but that thing that we went through for 3 years, what were they trying to stick into children? I'll give you a little clue. It makes people go like this. Brings on all sorts of evil, depraved, I'm just going to say conditions that then people have to live with for the rest of their life. They know all that stuff's nonsense, Jonni. They're not stupid.
I know.
You know, they've controlled science and the medical community for the last 150 years since their boy Pasteur. And sadly, most people are still under that freaking delusion that there's bogeymen that can jump from one person into another person and is ultimate victim mode. Ultimate. Because when you say, oh, there's nothing I can do about my health, it's in your hands, Jonni. Don't come near me. Don't come near me with that. Insanity, mate. And I'm just pointing out for those people that have switched on, these people, they're the fallen angels, mate, you know. Has he ever spoken up about 9/11? Ever?
No,
has he ever spoken out about the last 3 years and utter? Has he ever explained?
They'll pass it all through. They'll pass it all through. There was no opposition. There hasn't been any opposition for years, really. But it's just we know it's just a big play we're watching.
Yeah,
like scripted.
Is he ever going to sit down and say, "Listen, folks, life is about energy, vibration, and frequency. We're all a manifestation of God. That means you are me, and I am you. Therefore, we've all got to get along. So I don't need a big, massive pay rise. I don't need 6 houses. All I need to do is sit with the sun on my face and understand that we live in eternal love. Peace out." Is he ever going to say that, Jonni?
No. He's just going to tell you things are going to get worse. Get that fear going. Get that fear going in you. Make you worried. Keep your vibrational frequency low.
I used to like that nice boy Blair. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Oh, he were great, wasn't he? He bit handsome chap as well, you know. But I truly believe if they had kept Blair, oh, hang on, is it Blair? Was it the Cameron guy? Or was it the Thatcher one? No, they're all going to make the world a better place. Jonni, they are going to make the world a better place, yeah? No, you're looking at me with some doubt, like you think I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think Keir Starmer's a gift been given to England. I think he's a gift. I'm not looking at him as a all the stuff he is. I'm looking at him as a gift because he's a gift horse that's throwing it in your face. And if you can't see it at that point, there's no hope then, but there is hope.
I was going to say, because some gifts are just the fucking crap, mate, aren't they?
Well, it's a crap gift, yeah. It is a crap gift, I'll give you that, but it's a gift all the same.
Mate, ask me what I got for my birthday.
Go on, what did you get for your birthday?
I got a very nice top-of-the-range Seaskin sweatsuit. I'm a happy man. I haven't tested it out yet. I've kept the tags on it just in case it don't. I don't know if you can send it back when you've worn it in water, but yes. Sorry, I'm going off topic. So basically, folks, because we are the great British public, they're not really at that advanced stage yet, are they, of understanding what's going on in this equation. They love their voting. Bit like the Americans, they still love voting, don't they? They think if you get the blue in, it's just everything's going to turn around. The only problem is the other half think if you get the red in, everything's going to turn around. And none of them understand that, no, these are all agents, folks. They're deep state cabal agents. Look, World Economic Forum, the Trilateral Commission. And the biggest one that should be a red flag is... Dun, 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 where is it? Look. He's Jewish. Not that, we're not having a go at Jewish people here, folks, but he kept that one quiet, didn't he? Yes, I know he wasn't born into a maternal blood. You don't have to, I'm saying he's adopted a faith that believe the world's, 4,000 years old, and that the animals went on 2 by 2 onto an ark, and the reason that the tigers didn't eat the rabbits is that that God dictated that they should eat grain. This is problematic, folks, I'm sorry if you don't see it, but I'd say this is slightly problematic, that you've got an utter nutcase in charge of your country that bats for any other team other than Great Britain, and people wonder why he comes out with this pig shit, like robbing the pensioners of their heating allowance. And the crass insanity is those very people that object to this bollocks cannot wait to get down the polling station in 4 years to vote these idiots in again. Jonni, you got a solution, mate. What is it?
Well, I've been watching Tim, on the jet, what's it called? Jet simulator. He planes and he's been a guest many times on your show. Right? It's proper engaging when you're watching him. Well, I was watching his show and it were about Hugh Edwards, the nonce, and this prison sentence that he'd received, as in the suspended prison sentence. And it was basically, we're looking at stuff like this where high-profile people, the elites, they can commit the most heinous of crimes and walk out of that court with no punishment, really. Whereas somebody goes and writes a post on Facebook because they've they're objecting to the immigration, the uncontrolled immigration that's happening in country, and they're getting 3 years in prison. Starmer's releasing rapists and thieves and all ilk of people who are in prison early. They're not doing the sentences to make way for the British public, you know, and then criminalising them through a comment. And I mean, we've always believed we had freedom of speech, but it's pretty evident that the laws they've introduced in the last few years are designed to erode all of this down and just further silencing any voices that speak out against them. Now, idea I had was, I just thought, well, if the country came to the doorsteps on a certain night at 8 o'clock for 5 minutes and banged pots and pans and booed, like they tried to get us to bang pots and pans for nurses, that was a psychological operation on us all to see how we were, you know, like going along, if we were still compliant. It was like an exercise in compliance. And people got fed up of it after a few weeks, banging, clapping the nurses. And I mean, it was disgusting in itself. It was like all the healthcare workers and everything, they were worth a clap. And I just found that disgusting at times. They were just getting a clap. And it was just like an insult. We can turn that insult around back to them. And if we all get ourselves organised in the next couple of weeks, as many YouTubers as possible, because we're not going to get any media coverage, but it is possible to do what we're doing. But we'd need lots of YouTubers passing out, spreading out this message so that as many people in the public can get to see it. Flood social media with the posters of this doorstep protest kind of thing, and do it before the budget, that's I think on October 30th. Get it in before that budget so that everybody in Westminster, the noise will make will resonate for weeks. You get me?
Yes. Sorry, Johnny, I'm trying to do the old technology thing here with 3 screens going on. I totally get you, and I applaud you for having the bloody cojones to actually like do something. In an ideal world, it would be so great if people would just walk the spiritual path and don't do this voting bollocks. It's you're just like desecrating yourself, you know.
To be honest, Chris, you know, in the last election, there was only something like 20% of people went and actually voted. So out of that 20%, he got more like 10%, 11% of votes, you know, and that's what they're calling this great majority. And that's not a majority at all.
So what we're saying is, as opposed to like the lockdown, when that was just gaslighting at its best, wasn't it? That was creating a problem that just totally doesn't exist. Or if it did, it was sort of influenced by something outside of health. And just gaslighting the great British Joe bloody public to get... They fucking love it, don't they? I'll tell you what it is, Johnny. Sorry, I'm going off on one a bit, but I think it helps people understand what the psychology behind this is. We've been robbed of all excitement, adventure, and meaning in life. You know, young men no longer follow their father into the fields or the factory or, you know, some trade or the dockyard or, you know...
Can we just stop you, Chris, on that one? You said young men follow the father. Well, I've just got to mention something about Keir Starmer here, because his dad was a tool maker, and Keir Starmer is the biggest tool that's ever been created in this country. Had to get that one in. Yes,
and I try to include the girls here, but I think the girls always have had a bit of a, you know, there's a whole thing to be said, isn't there, about homemaking and all part, you know, all this breakdown of the nuclear family, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have mum at home who loves the bloody kids, you know. But, sorry, going off at a tangent there. But what's happened is we've just developed this useless, crass society of fucking wallies. I remember being down in Padstow Friends, let me know in the comments if you've ever been to the beautiful seaside port of Padstow. I've been there for like the last 50 years and sadly seen it change into Padstein. But let's not be bitter. But I just remember down there in the middle of all that, mask wearing nonsense. I'm walking along and I seen this guy, right? And he's got the muscles and he got to this shop doorway, and I physically saw him change as he pulled his mask out of his pocket. It was his time to be a fucking hero, because in his mind, he's never been one. He sits behind a fucking computer screen. That's his life. Doing, and I mean no offence to our beautiful girls out there, doing what we used to call women's work. That's him for 40 years now, doing data entry, and buying Lycra. and here's the thing, that pot banging on the doorstep was people desperate to express some form of humanism. Okay, it was manipulated. It was massive, like mind control, indoctrination. We know that. It was the opposite of 1984's 3 Minutes of Hate, but it was in exactly the same vein. But what I mean is, it's like when the people come out and they see the funeral cars coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're running up and throwing flowers on, and people that have, got no connection to the military, don't know these dead squaddies coming back from Adam. And rather than like do the honourable thing, which is to protest the war, they adopt the, let's just embrace it. Am I making sense, Johnny? It's because people don't have an outlet. They have unfulfilled lives. And, I'm not judging here. I was probably, I can tell you now, there's loads of areas in my life I think feel unfulfilled because of this matrix bollocks. But, and so what you're saying is, rather than have this vacuous, gaslighty protest that was just so sycophantic, you're saying actually get out there, bang pots and pans,
and boo. On your doorstep. Don't go anywhere else. Stay on your doorstep or out your window and boo them. Bang pots and pans and boo them. And if enough people do it, it will resonate through Westminster, and there's more chance of getting more people involved in this, because there's no chance of getting arrested. You're not breaking any laws if you do it at a certain time. Don't go outside somebody's house. Have absolute respect, you know what I mean, for everybody and that lot, and try just to get them to listen to the electorate and people and serve us instead of serving the World Economic Forum and other organisations where they only need our vote to be able to do that, and actually start serving us as the people, what they should have been doing in the first place.
This is about taking back power, Johnny, if I understand you right.
Kind of taking back power and putting it into the people's hands and getting the politicians to actually serve the electorate and to have our interests at heart. And in light of what they're doing to pensioners and that lot, it's absolutely disgusting. They're like the defenceless of pensioners, really. And I mean, every pensioner, as well, like if you're alive with kids, it affects your family, it affects everybody, it affects his lives. And it's a kind thing to do, to give every pensioner a winter fuel payment. They've lived on this in this country for so long, they'll have paid taxes in. Give them a little bit of something back at winter. Don't keep them with nothing. And that, like, it just seems like a very cruel policy that they're running with especially like single
Mate,
people.
let's just call it. It's satanic. People have got to get their heads around this. Sorry, John, I'm not shouting at you, brother. I'm just saying these people are actual practicing. They go to the dark side because in the material realm they get all the wealth that they can ever live with, just like all your bloody celebrities doing that bollocks. But what they do is they sell their soul for it. And when you give half the country's money to a club member in Ukraine to share out with his global mafia friends, which is what we've seen for another thing we've seen for the last 2 years. Zelensky's just big club mafia. He's dark network. He's Baal worshipping cabal. He's a puppet for them. He's not part of the club. He's just a puppet. Kolomoisky, the guy that put him in power, he's a bit more of a club player, but they nothing like on the level of the Rothschilds, who are like top tier. They sit down with El Diablo himself, who you're never going to know, and nor am I. And they literally want to kill pensions. It's not that they're bad management they literally, like we saw the last 3 years, they want to massacre people because they call it Lucian, I believe. It's when you suck energy from the quantum realm via these human mechanisms that are you and I. It's the same with the porn industry. They're sucking that energy from naive, vulnerable young men, selling them into this fucking evil addiction. And they sucking that energy out. It's the same with the pop concerts, the rock concerts. Some of them, Johnny, they're nothing more than a ritual.
Yeah.
It's just the gullible people there going to see their, and don't get me wrong, I love a concert the same as everyone else, but going to see Crowded House is a little bit different to going to see, Taylor Swift or some of the other bloody big club front people out there. And does going outside and banging a pot and pan bring down a cabal? No, but it does show people that they can have a bit of power. The issue would be, what do you think about this, Johnny? That obviously the mainstream media, unlike during the scam, where they covered the doorstep stuff, non-stop coverage of it, is mainstream media not even going to mention it, are they? So you're limited to social media, and a lot of the sort of people that would go out and bang the pot or pan, they don't hang around in the circles you and I do on social media.
No,
like the Robin Hood Club. I mean,
that's kind of why, like, if you're going to do this, one person couldn't do this, two people couldn't do this. We need a collective of people. We need people who are like your subscribers to be going out actively to sharing documentation on Facebook. So people who don't watch this kind of stuff get to hear about it and I'm sure all pensioners are being full, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we'll do this because it's affecting them more than all these policies at the moment are affecting them more than any other group of people, I would say.
Yes, and they need sticking up for. Do you think, though, you got to remember your average British male, I still don't think they know who Joe Rogan is. I don't know what it's like now, but I just remember I used to say to people, did you see Joe Rogan yesterday? And they're like, who? Joe Rogan, like the biggest podcast in the world. Never heard of him, mate. So I'm not trying to like piss on your fireworks here, Johnny. I'm fully supportive of some positive action, but
it's getting it off the ground, isn't it? It's getting it off the ground and getting it moving but having the belief that your voice can do something, and it would. It's got more chance of than doing something in Westminster than you have if you turn up at a town hall. And all they're going to do then is ride horses in, arrest you, charge you, and you'll be in prison in one of them new, now empty cells. Like, so we've got to do things right. I mean, we don't want to get people arrested. I won't decree anything that arrested anybody or hurt anybody, or you know what I mean. I won't put my name behind anything like that.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, and I've got to be careful what I say here due to the changing nature climate of, like, you're not allowed to say shit anymore, are you? But let's talk about South Africa, where they practice direct action. I do wonder though if everyone sat down in the runway at Heathrow. Not suggesting you do, folks. It's a hypothetical question. Sorry, I'm not talking to my lovely, wonderful subscribers. I'm talking to all the Karens out there. They're going to go, oh, no, you shouldn't have suggested that. But, you stop them planes flying for half a day and you're hitting people in the pocket, or you close down bloody Oxford Street. I don't know, John. I'm just saying.
Or when people have protests, like you've seen the Just Stop Oil and that lot, and they close down streets, the public ain't behind that. The public are outraged at it, and they're also seeing this like two-tier where the police they're not pulling them out at roads as such. They're letting them sit there and block all traffic up, and then they're arresting any angry drivers who are stuck behind this, who try and drag them out of the way. They get arrested. And obviously you've seen like where motorists have edged the cars up to them and things like that. That's like attempted murder. When you get done for stuff like that, that's attempted murder you get done for. You're not going to get a little prison sentence. This, nobody's going to get hurt. Nobody would get hurt, and it'd make the biggest noise that they've probably ever heard in Westminster in hundreds of years.
Yes, just to go on a tangent, because we are having a chat here, that whole I've got this kind of all-consuming mind, mate. I like to think about everything, and I don't like to put my chips on one square.
Yeah.
But when you see Just Stop Oil, clearly they're they're funded to be the most annoying bunch of shits on the planet and to really upset culture, the elderly, people. They desecrated Stonehenge. I noticed they seem to use orange paint, and someone said in the comments yesterday, quite rightly pointed out, orange 33 in gematria, same as the orange they drank on the Apollo missions and
right.
and the and so on. Anyway, so basically we're saying it's Illuminati. It's big club code for. Like anything a cabal do, they put their signature on it. If the public are too dumb to see it, it just means they can keep doing it. So, so you got there. I'm sure Just Stop Oil is funded by Soros, and it'll have money, funneled off to them through the cabal. Why would you want an annoying group that upset the majority called Just Stop Oil? If it wasn't for the fact you want the public to believe don't stop oil. And I'm only saying it because I think we've got to raise our game here and realise these fuckers, they're always 10 steps ahead, Johnny.
They work in mysterious ways.
And this climate thing, if we just write it all off to, control, which I'm not saying that loads of controls coming in under climate change and Agenda 30 and all this stuff, but something's going on,
like to go outside and look up at your skies to see something's going on.
Well, I chatted with an airline company the other day. I was just on the phone to one of their operatives, and it's one of the ones in question they've taken a load of flack, and I just happen to know the guy, I won't say how because it's irrelevant, and I said to him, look, can I just ask you, you've got a load of shit off this. I mean, he was like, oh, we fucking get the phone, we get people abusing us on the phone all the time. I'm like, well, what's going on then? He said, Chris, I can honestly tell you, we're just like, we plan flight schedules and stuff, and I can't, there's nothing that I can. I said, could it be something in the fuel? And you could tell that this guy was like 20 years younger than me. So he didn't get that we didn't used to have skies like this, right? He was like, it could be like atmosphere. I'm like, no. And if it is some atmospheric thing, or they've changed, why is no one saying that? Why doesn't someone just come out and say, no conspiracy, folks, what it is, if you release, this fuel additive at 30,000 feet, it really interacts with the, moisture in the atmosphere and creates this strange effect. That's all. Yeah, fine. Thank you for But no one says anything, Jonni, do they?
No.
Except a little bit of an admission of the truth that comes out in a sort of sideways way that some article.
That's how they've done it, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've done it sideways like that.
And I will remind people, when I spoke to Dane Wigington from Geoengineering Watch, right? He's the world's leading guy on geoengineering. I said, why? And he said, Chris, because they're burning 80 billion tons of fossil fuel every, I can't remember the time frame, but even if it was a year, that's a lot of the planet to be burning off in an ecosystem that we have to live in. And what no one wants to even consider that could have a detrimental effect to environment. And he said what they're doing, they're blocking out the sun because global warming is 100%, man-made global warming is 100% a real thing. I'm not saying this, folks. Don't leave any shitty comments. This is called adult conversation that we all should be having. But do you know what I mean, Jonni?
No, I 100% see what you mean.
These are the people that have convinced half the planet that the world is 4,000 years old, Jonni.
Yeah.
That have hidden,
Yeah, anything that comes to light that suggests that we're older than that gets hidden. Yeah,
these guys create countries by reading the Bible. This is how mental it gets. Yes, it's yes, I'm sure there's people out there know a lot, but it is funny when you challenge people's narratives. People that are awake, fucking hell, a lot of them don't like it, Jonni, I think it's because their childhood trauma has woken them up, and they see these narratives as like the last rock before a waterfall. Like, these people understand me, they understand what I've been through, and I'm no, this is how life is, and no one's going to tell me that I have to consider anything. It's a bit like religion, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just think, be a free thinker, for fuck's sake. You get one life in this set of molecules. It's too short to be a slave to George Soros or World Economic Forum or NASA or what.
Don't wait for people like world leaders to save you. If you need saving, if you think you need saving, you can do it yourself. You can be your own person. You don't need other people. You're on this planet. We're all having the same experience. Why do you know what I mean? You don't need stuff like this. Not in the slightest.
Well, I was going to sort of mention that, is, my thing is, you find your peace on the inside. Spiritual battle, I give the analogy the other day. The trouble with being awake is you think you're sort of privy to some sort of knowledge that most people don't know, and to a degree, well, I mean, of course you are, especially if you're not wandering around with your underpants on your face. But the problem is, being awake, you're just still in the matrix, because you haven't learned, you haven't developed the skills to understand what new consciousness is. And it's when you get people going, oh, I can't wake up my family, I can't, they laugh at me at work, they call me tinfoil hat and dirt. And I likened it to, if you're on an aeroplane and all the oxygen masks suddenly come down because there's some in-flight emergency, what do? Do you run around the plane shouting at everyone like, you should be wearing your oxygen mask, you need to get that on you? Or do you take care of your own shit first, And this is why I don't think we're ready for politics yet and democracy, because we don't know what it is. Because until we emancipate ourselves and understand that true freedom actually means sacrifice. You got to sacrifice money. I very much know that, although I'm not going to kid anyone. I live in hardship. You got to sacrifice the rich diet. You've got to sacrifice the alcohol every night. You've got to sacrifice the hate and the judgment of other people. You got to. I was on my run this morning and I ran past this, can I say, elderly lady, and she was struggling up the road with a shopping bag, and I ran past, and then I just like, Chris, what are you doing? Stop. And I turned around to ask her, does she need a hand? Because the co-op was like a quarter of a mile away, And then I realised, she was just going to the bus stop and she was basically in it. But this is the thing, is that moral... that moral dilemma, isn't it? You got to be able to say, hang on, Chris, put your day on hold. Yes, you've got, but that is the right thing to do, And until we're at that stage, politics never going to work. The the indigenous, like Americans, whatever they call them, like they had a chief. But the chief really was like the sort of spokesman on behalf of the tribe. And when they had a powwow, anybody in that tribe could put their hand up and say something. Didn't matter who you were, if you're disabled, if you're this, that, the other, young, old. Everybody had to be listened to. And then the chief would obviously make the decision that he considered was best for the tribe. What we got now, our democracy, is no one's listened to.
No.
And then the elected give all the money to the big club.
Yeah, they only need you for your vote. That's when they're making your promises in like the manifestos in the general election. They make the promises. But as seen with this party, the stuff they've done in the last 2 months, that weren't in the manifesto. And I'm sure if it was in the manifesto, they won't be in power now. So it's kind of, they've got in through deception, really. That's how they've got in. They've got in through deception. And I'm sure that if people had got a chance to have another general election or something like that, I'm sure they wouldn't vote them back in and leave it Tories. And I think that'd be done with it. But then again, what have you got in place? Who's ready to step in and that lot and take their place? And at the moment, the only thing we've got is reform, really. And they made up ex-Tory members and stuff like that. So it's a con in itself. I believe it's a con in itself, as in, you're going to get, eventually, people are going to have had enough voted Labour and Tories, so they're not going to get voted in. Reform will get in, but it's made up predominantly of people, of some of the same ilk. And you know what I mean? They're not to be trusted. They're not to be trusted. Just the same as every of them all.
The whole premise of two-party politics, it's we covered this the other day. The reason it's blue and red is these are the occult colours for magnetism and electricity. And the whole Kabbalah thing, if you want to say, with these two pillars and the right way in the middle, or symbolic in scripture is Jesus is on the cross and he's got these two other crosses either side. That's all allegory for the sacred secretion, basically getting your body's biochemistry in order, because when you live the right way and think the right way, your pineal gland and your pituitary function as a like a torus field, connecting with the universe, the divine, because that's what you are. You are a part of everything, and bang, you make that all important connection because you're getting your electromagnetism right, which all comes from light, essentially. And this is why you get like the boxing ring is always like blue and red, is it not? And they're literally telling you that they're dividing you. They don't want you making that
very simple for you. It's blue or red.
Yeah, they don't want Adam and Eve to go east of Eden. Adam and Eve, they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, fired off their tree of life, that's their nervous system, and their endocrine glands. As a result, they went to paradise. A certain group of people, I'm just going to leave it there, they bastardized that story and made it about, evil devil coming down and tempt, and all the fucking cretinous nonsense you associated with organized religion. The snake is representing spirit. Kundalini it's fascinating. But they went east of Eden. They accessed the right hemisphere of the brain. Jesus said, cast your net on the other side of the boat. Again, access the right hemisphere of your brain. When they done that, they caught, 162 fish. One had 6, had 2 is 9. 9 enlightened human consciousness. You can also have 9 as in, mark of the beast, 666. 6 had 6 is 18. Yeah. 1 had 8 is 9. So as above, so below. You got these two, people that vote, they're in the 666, aren't they? I mean, I'm not saying they're devils or nothing. They're just naive. They're living in the 3D matrix. They haven't got it yet. People that are enlightened, show me a little diagram here. They're living up here in the 9. Raise their vibration, their frequency. Life meets them at a different, on a different level. They're like, Chris, why do I keep seeing these numbers? It's called synchronicity, because when you change your frequency and vibration, life just becomes different. And that allegory, when you access the right, you got a big brain in your head. If you're only using half of it that's been programmed by a matrix of evil, what kind of life are you going to live? You've got to unprogram all that shit, access the other side, sync them, Jonni, which is what you do on your channel, isn't it? Hemisync. Yep. You've got to sync both sides of your brain. Boom. Then you're getting your electromagnetism right. And you're no longer these... in Freemasonry, it's the two pillars, isn't it? I don't know how you pronounce the name, because when I said Boaz and Jackin to one of my Grandmaster mates, and him and the other Grandmaster both started laughing at each other. But it's the same thing, the pillars, the sun and the moon, isn't it? Moon is magnetism, hence the tides. Sun is your electricity. Masonry come out of ancient, the ancient Middle East. It were esoterics, wasn't it? It was people trying to understand life and taking that knowledge into the secret, so they didn't get persecuted. But this is what we got as politics at the moment. So I wish you well on your venture, Jonni, and I will help you in any way I can, brother, because I think it's great to take positive action. Folks, on the subject of positive action, we got a lot of people watching. Could we get some likes and subscribes, folks. If you're not liked and subscribed, please do. Click the notification bell and all of that, because like I can tell you, we get it on this channel. Seriously, we are, as much as you can, I think we get everything. We're like, most people are putting out this fear-mongering content because they know that it will trigger people's dopamine. People will keep tuning in for that fear because it's a dopamine hit. We don't do that, folks. Hence why I don't get many subscribers. We tell the truth, and it doesn't really work for the sort of satanic algorithm. So if you can like and subscribe, that would be great. But yeah, Jonni, I don't do politics, but if banging a pot brings people together and shows them that they got power.
I could do with help. That's what it is. I can't do it on this on my own. I'm only one, but I live on a council estate in middle of Yorkshire. You know what I mean? I can't do this on my own, and I'd need as much help from as many people who would like to do something. And between us all, I'm sure we can do something.
Yes.
Set a date when we could do this protest. It's an idea at this moment in time. It's all it is. It's an idea.
Yes. Sorry, mate. I'm just looking at all I'm looking at all the comments.
I can't see any of them, so
No, we've got the chat has been flying past. We've got a wonderful bunch. Friends, if you're wondering why you can't comment, it's just set to channel subscribers only. That way we get all the 7-7 brigade and all the, control bloody bods out of it, and also the idiots. Much love to them. Yes. Okay. Oh, Mr. Blue Skies. There you go. The Babylonian Woe. Folks, if you haven't read this one. Dun, dun, dun. See, I'm old school, Jonni, because I'm old school and thick as dog shit. I do that when all I really need to do is click this button on my screen. Boom! And I've got a pop-up. I've got a pop-up with the book cover on the screen. There you go, folks. Look, I'll put it both sides of the screen, because if we double up, we're going to bring down the bloody Illuminati. There you go. No, seriously, this book, folks, you don't have to read it, because I'll do you a quick synopsis, because it's a bloody long, in-depth read. But basically, money used to be just a simple system of exchange. Like, say Jonni comes over and paints my fence, and I'm like, Jonni, sorry, I ain't got time to come and like mend your gate, but here you go. Look, there's 3 cockle shells. You can take that anywhere in the land, and that is the recognised amount for like painting a gate or, fixing a shelf or whatever. So Jonni can go and use that to get a service, or he could exchange it for goods. So a chicken might be like 2 cockle shells and a goat is 6 or something like this. That's all it was. It was just a recognised system of trade, I suppose you'd call it, and for services. And then, of course, the big club come along, and they thought, right, we can make a buck here. Let's start saying, right, Jonni, I'll lend you some cockle shells if you need them. And what you do is, if I lend you 10 cockle shells, you've got to pay me back 11. And that, as we know, is called usury, money lending. Hence why in Scripture, Jesus throws the money lenders out the temple, because the message there is, if you let the money lenders have their way, we all end up in slavery. And look where we're going. Look where we've ended up, And that's the Babylonian woe. The Babylonian woe, folks, it's a euphemism for the usual suspects. And yeah, that's it. And what they did over the years is, when you had kings and queens and leaders and rulers and all this sort of stuff, and church people, in the olden days, there was a time where they looked after their communities. That was their job. If you're a king, you looked after your kingdom, and you worked on behalf of the people. the Babylonian woe got in there, the money lending lot, and they changed that. They started to say, look, Jonni, your worth, it's not about like doing good for these bloody minions. Your worth is based upon how many cockle shells you've got. And of course that turned into gold. The money lenders infiltrated departments at all levels. Used to be the thing, they'd work out the cellars of the palaces, accrue the gold for the king. The kings, you know, not that smart, are they, royalty? They're like, oh, look, I've got more gold. I'm so special. I'm going to get myself a horse and carriage made out of crystal and all this sort of, like as we've come to see. And look what we've got now. Look at royal families now. Nothing more than just obsessively greedy wealth accumulators that do nothing for the people, unless you think like fucking postcards in London is special or something, you know. This is why they're not going to speak up during like the medical narrative. They ain't going to tell you the truth. They all live till they're like 110. They know the causes of ill health. This is why they don't speak up about that, you know. This is why they're well embedded with World Economic Forum and New World Order. Yes. So, Babylonian Woe, folks. There you go. Get yourself a copy. Very difficult book to get hold of, but just there you go. It's like reading about the downfall of modern man. So, Jonni, listen, brother. How about we... folks, just going to remind you, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be wonderful. That would be absolutely wonderful. Massive thank you as well to all our Patreons, locals and channel members. All our back catalogue folk is on YouTube for all our YouTube. We don't leave every video up. There's so much that all my life coaching stuff is there. If you become a YouTube member, it's $1.99 a month. You get an invite to all of my, you know, annual events and whatever. I'm just going to say, Jonni, have you got 10 minutes to go over to locals?
Yeah.
And we'll just go over there and we can have a proper chat about who's ruining the world. Because you can't have it on some of the platforms that we're on now. So, folks, massive love to you all. You've been absolutely brilliant. The chat's been flying away. Jonni, I'm wishing you all the best with your doorstep.
If any YouTubers are out there, just before we go, if any YouTubers are out there and you want to get on board with this idea and help promote it, please contact either me or Chris. You know what I mean? Because we can't do this on his own. If you're somebody, just a viewer out there, and you know somebody who's a YouTuber and you're friends with them and you want to try and make that change, go and do it. Because if you don't do stuff like this, that's it. They win. But we have to come together. We have to come together. It's simple. And come together in such a way that we can do it without mainstream media's help.
So, the poster, folks, we'll get you a link. Don't worry. This is Amanda's asking. We're just not sure of the start date yet, Jonni, are we?
Yeah, if we'll come up with a date next week or so. But so I mean, people need to contact us. We need to, you know what I mean? I can't just do this all on my own and come up with a date out blue. And we need to do this right. It has to be done correctly, right, and respectfully as well. Yeah.
What Jonny's saying, folks, is we need your feedback. Are you on board with this? Could we make this work? Any feedback's welcome, folks, so long as it's respectful, obviously, to Jonni and the channel. You know, could we make this work? And then we can put out a poster. We can give you a link for it. And if you know YouTubers, so get onto Mr. Vobes. I think you've messaged him on our behalf, Jonni, haven't you?
I have done, yeah, but I've probably that bogged down with emails that I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do get quite busy. So there we go. All right, Jonni, let's go over to friends. Locals is our freedom of speech platform. We're going to go over there now. There's a link there below. It's free to sign up, but we do some videos for our paying supporters because obviously they pay to keep this channel afloat. There's the link. Look, just going across the screen now. There, christhrall.locals.com is where it's happening. We're going to go there now. Thanks for watching. Massive thank you to Jonni. Much love to all of you.